2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, I'm Lauren Swanson. Okay. In a world where people will do anything for money, a $32 billion industry has been made by trafficking men, women, and even children. The United Nations believes that there are 27 million people enslaved around the world, and 13 million of these people are children. Human trafficking is one of the largest and most heinous crimes today. The actions and the decisions that you make in your everyday life can contribute to the reason that these people are trafficked in the first place. Because of this, people all around need to be better educated on what it is, how and why it happens, and the cases of it going on here in the U.S. and what you can do to help prevent it. According to the Department of Homeland Security, human trafficking is defined as the modern-day form of slavery and involves the use of force, fraud, or coercion to exploit human beings for some type of labor or commercial sex purpose. This is one of the largest crime industries today, only coming second to firearm dealing and drug dealing. Around 80% of trafficking is used for sexual exploitation, and only about 19% is used for some sort of like labor purpose or in like factories and stuff. Due to these percentages, the rates of human trafficking are usually found in countries where extreme poverty exists because they don't really have anything else that they can do except be sold into slavery. The average age of a young woman who gets sold is usually from 12 to 14 years of age. Some of the most common countries where you will find women being taken is in Thailand, China, Ukraine, and Nepal. And the United States, as well as Italy and Germany, are some of the countries in which most of these women are taken so that they can be sold. DoSomething.org says that 600,000 to 800,000 women are trafficked across the borders internationally every single year. 70% of this number is women, and half of them are children. The real question to all these numbers, though, is why are these girls being trafficked in the first place? The most obvious answer is a heartless one. People want to do it for money. Many people think that money is what you need to have what is considered a successful life. That's not the case. In many cultures, also another reason that trafficking happens is because in many cultures, men do not view women as with much value. They believe that they're just disposable or replaceable, and they don't really view them as human beings, but more as objects for possession. The next step after the traffickers join the industries, they actually have to obtain their captives, and they do this in multiple different ways. They, according to SoreOptimist.org, they will promise them many different kinds of things, such as jobs, money, marriage. They'll even offer them education, anything to really get them out of their situation that they're living in poverty, because they know that the girls and the women want to get out of that situation. So then they grab onto these false promises. Sometimes, though, their families will have to sell them into the industry themselves because that's the only way that they can make money. Once sold to a trafficker, they have to travel to multiple different countries before they finally will settle in a country that's going to be their permanent location. They become completely dependent on the traffickers through many ways. The traffickers will sometimes bump up their fees that they owe them, so they just continue to owe them a ton of money. They also deprive them of food, they deprive them of sleep, they will drug them many times, and they'll even rape them to kind of further their sense of lack of purpose and worthlessness, just so they believe that they can't escape and that this is what their life is going to be. On top of this, many times they don't even speak the same language as their captors, and so this kind of makes it difficult for them to communicate. And even if they were to be able to escape, they don't really know where they are, and they don't know who they can talk to because they can't communicate with anybody. Now, all of this sounds as if it happens in other places, but what many people don't realize is that it also happens here in the U.S. as well. There are around 14,500 to 17,500 trafficked people into the U.S. every single year. The U.S. is also considered to be one of the top 3 countries in the whole world where this trafficking occurs. Some of the most popular states where trafficking occurs is New York, Texas, and California, and as well as Nevada. And it's said that Weaving.org says that there are 10,000 women alone in the Los Angeles brothels and stuff, where the immigrant agents have found them. Not only are people being brought here to the U.S. though, but National Human Trafficking Resource Center has found that in all the cases that they researched, 41% of the victims are U.S. citizens. The Polaris Project, which is a organization that really tries to fight human trafficking, has estimated that 100,000 U.S. children are caught in this ring as well. One thing that many people don't know is that the Super Bowl is actually the single largest event that traffics human trafficking in the U.S. One person who has escaped from this ring, she told the Huffington Post that she was expected to sleep with at least 25 men each day on days such as big as these or at events such as the Super Bowl, because just the demand is so high on those kinds of days. It's obvious that this is a problem that has to be fixed. It's not only a problem all around the world, but it's also a problem here in the U.S. And there's many things that you can do, and one of them is just by donating a little bit of money. You can do this through various organizations such as Compassion International, as well as World Visions, and there's a lot of other ones too. I even sponsor my own child through Compassion, and they live in Ethiopia. For $38 each month, which is just over a little dollar per day, I can give them fresh food and water and give them education not only in the school but also in Jesus Christ, as well as giving them important life skills to help them get out of this poverty, which is kind of where you want to focus because most of the people that are being trafficked come from extreme poverty. So if you can give them a chance for a better future, and you can give them this money so they can get out of that situation, their likeliness of being put into slavery is going to be a lot less. And if these families have money to provide for their children, they don't have to be forced to sell their children into the slavery, which is another way that these kids get caught up in it. All you would have to do is maybe have one less coffee per day, or maybe one less pack of gum. It doesn't take much, just a little bit over $1 per day. Another organization that directly fights this is called Tiny Hands International, and this organization specifically focuses on all the trafficking that's happening in Nepal, which is, like I said earlier, one of the biggest countries where trafficking occurs and where women are taken from. Recently, according to moodyglobal.org, Pastor Mark Forstrom of New Covenant Bible Church right here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, he was able to raise over $14,500 just for this organization. What he decided to do was on his 50th birthday party, he wanted to run 50 miles, and for every mile he asked people to donate. And only 200 people ended up donating in the end, but all that little amount added up to over $14,000. That is a crazy amount of money. And all this money, according to their site, will be going towards the checkpoints that are at the border in Nepal, where they will specifically try to stop any girls who are trying to be taken from the country, as well as helping these girls once they're freed, getting back on their feet, giving them education and resources, and it will also go into investigations to stop these rings of trafficking that are going on in Nepal. Here in our own community, as you can see, that people are able to do their part, even in what seemed like a small way, it really became a big way, and every little bit can save a life and give an adult or a child a brighter future and a brighter future. Human trafficking is not just a story that you hear about, but it's something that happens in our everyday lives right here in the U.S., all around the world. It rips people apart, rips families apart, and it enslaves a ton of people into living tortured and meaningless lives. This happens not only here in the world, but all across the world. And these are real people just like you and me. You know, if you had a friend or a family who was caught up in this, you would do anything that you could save them. And if one life is worth saving, then every life is worth saving. So I really challenge you guys to go out and maybe try to see what you can do to help stop human trafficking once and for all. Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.